One. Hello, America, to our friends around the world. Welcome to the Common Sense Show. My name is Dave Hodges. I'm the host, and we're the show that's freeing America one enslaved mind at a time, hopefully one enslaved soul at a time, because we do defend God, family, country in that order, and we help the oppressed. And the American people are kind of the oppressed, and we're going to hit that because it's a sin of omission. That there have been rich people in the past that have done certain things to make a lot of money, all legal, but kept secret from the public. Because wealth is relative. If I have a quarter, you have a quarter, neither one of us are rich. If I have a quarter and you have a nickel, I'm rich. And that's why they did what they did. And this is why you've heard me do a lot of advertising for Iron Hawk Financial. They're making what the rich use to become filthy rich available to the general public. And you've heard me talk about this tremendously. And the one thing that I can say, along with every sponsor we have for our show, we don't believe in high pressure sales. We don't believe in twisting arms, deceptive advertising, and I'm really careful about who I bring on. And Iron Hawk has one of the best reputations you can find. And we're lucky enough to have the CEO on with us, Joe Lombardi, and we're going to talk about some world politics. We're going to talk in relation to the economy and in relationship to what he does at Iron Hawk Financial, because we're trying to equip you with tools to help you survive what could be some actually nasty days ahead. And I'm not necessarily projecting this, but this war has put us in a tough position economically and also militarily, but economically in particular. Supply chains, and now we've got water shortages all over the country, and utility rates are skyrocketing because of the data centers. I mean, we're under some assault right now, and people are looking for relief financially. And the place you're never going to find it is the banks. Joe, great to have you back on. We've been through an interesting journey together. What started out as a innocent interview has ended up blossoming into a whole lot more here. Uh, I talked to Mary Ann, our COO, and she tells me just how busy you guys are now.
Yeah, it's been absolutely tremendous. From meeting you, God, it's been almost a year. I think we celebrate our 1 year next month, and it has been one of the best, not only business relationships but friendships that I've been able to have in 24 years. Speaking with Dave, I remember when I first talked to him, it was such a big deal because I listen to Dave and I love his show and to be able to be on and then not only be on, but then be a friend and then be a friend and then, be a sponsor and then, we're helping people together. And boy, have we helped people over this last year. I think we're 30, 40, 50 clients now. We're getting two, three leads every day. We have strategies and plans to try and help people, get out of debt, and we're trying our best to make sure that people leave us better than before they met us, regardless of, their financial stature. But it's one of those things where I meet these people, they get this inheritance and they don't know what to do with it. They're like, I'm not used to this money, Joe. Like I don't want this money to change me, right? I want this money to live on. This was something that my family saved up and I just don't want to blow it all. And then, I want to give back to my grandchildren. And so it's been an amazing opportunity over this last year, protecting people with life insurance and long-term care, keeping them out of 10 by 10 jail cells, keeping them free from market losses, keeping them free from, government taxation, repositioning people that were with the government, the same one they don't trust, they have all their money with. And it's been absolutely breathtaking, amazing. All the five-star reviews we've gotten from your listeners, and we're growing. We invested a lot of money into our infrastructure. I just shot 20 videos yesterday at a studio to really, automate this for people so they can really get this information out there as fast as I can. Because once people see this and they hear it and they feel it, they realize that it's not a scam. It's not something that is fairy dust or fugazi, as it's said in the Wolf of Wall Street movie, one of my favorite quotes. But it's so important to make sure that we have these strong financial foundations I had a client yesterday on Facebook reach out to me. Her husband's dying, 66 years old, stage 4 brain cancer, and she doesn't know what to do. She's 57 and she's almost crying. She is crying through Facebook Messenger, and she was my neighbor 20 years ago. And she was like, "Oh, I've been following you." She's like, "When you were 20, you were a little cocky, so my husband didn't like you." I was like, "Oh, that's fine." But I was like, "I grew up, and but she's like, "I've been seeing all the success you've had for 20 years, and I don't know what to do, and I'm alone, and he won't talk to me." So these plans are so important to put in place before it's too late, not just on a dollar side because they have money, but she's in the dark. She has no idea. Imagine being emotionally, mentally, and spiritually just overwhelmed, depressed, anxious. And then you got to add financial into it. It's one of those things if you're holding off of having a conversation, especially if you have a spouse and something to lose and have the government steal, meet with us. It's free, and the changes we have. And again, I'm so thankful God put us together, Dave.
Yeah, me too. It's interesting. You talked about let the government steal. I hate to say that, but it's true. They don't have a servant mentality and leadership. And I'll just give you one example from current events. In the state of Illinois right now, they're on the verge of passing a bill that's going to charge people by the mile that they travel. And okay, if that's fine. They say, well, electric cars have taken away a lot of the revenue from the gas tax that we're supporting the road maintenance. Okay, that's fine. But they're not doing away with the road maintenance tax. They're putting one tax on another. My point is, they're doing everything they can do to separate people from their money.
That's how it works. It's us versus them, right? As I said several times, I love my country. I
Yeah,
hate my government. Or we have the best values and morals as a country, and we have the most demonic, evil sociopaths in government. Regardless of which wing. One's more evil than the other. It doesn't mean that one of them is good. So when you really understand what is going on, if you're not taking those actions to fight against evil and you're allowing it to persist, not only within your community, within your neighbors, but you're allowing it to persist in your home with your spouse and your children, and you're not doing anything to combat it legally, you're setting yourself up, your spouse up, your children up, your business up for a lot more risk that you just don't need to have. I mean, I've heard David scream from the top of the rooftop about the Dodd-Frank Act 2010.
oh, yeah. Yeah. I've been talking about that for years. And it's funny, I'm not making the penetration with the population that I should be with Dodd-Frank because people don't know. Right now, the banks have no interest in stealing your money because they're making money on lending it out. But if ever they get into a desperate situation in mass, they have the right to take your retirement, anything else associated with the bank. Dodd-Frank 2010. Also, UCC Code Section 8 does the same thing. And so you're an unsecured creditor by law, people. You have no rights to your money if the bank says you don't. Likely what they would do though, Joe, is they would probably do what Cyprus did. You know the 100,000 you had in the bank? Well, it's now worth 40,000. Okay? And then they keep the remainder to satisfy their debts.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things. The wealthy people do not put their money in banks. I mean, the common sense thing, number one, right? Common sense show. If there's a $250,000 FDIC insurance and a millionaire has $10 million, what sense would it make for him to put 10 million in the bank where only 250,000 of his
I
FDIC
agree.
insured? So that right there doesn't have to do with any conspiracy theories as some people may think, which this is not, by the way. This is factual evidence. But it think about it, right? If you were ultra rich, I think our world and especially our culture has a hard time putting ourselves in other people's shoes, right? Us as a culture do not have empathy. It's hard for us to really put ourselves in somebody else's shoes and say, well, what is going on in their head? Why would they do that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not asking you to even have empathy. I'm just asking you to put yourself, if let's say a billionaire shoes, a billionaire, that's 1,000 million, right? That's just a lot. So when you think of somebody like that, right, do you think he uses traditional government investment options? The answer is no. They use specific advanced IRS codes that you have access to with your 10,000 bucks, with your 100,000 bucks, with your million bucks. that they're putting in 20 billion and you get the same exact return as somebody who's putting in 20 billion with your 100,000. So it's not this, oh well, I need an attorney, I need a estate planning attorney, I need an accountant, I need a CPA, I need ELDO, I need an S corp, I need a C corp, I need an irrevocable trust. I need well, those things are cool, and I work with clients all day long who have those, but you don't need any of that. What you need is you need a strong financial foundation, known as a 7702 plan, also known as Index Universal Life, as long as it's overfunded. And again, this is not product selling. This is people protecting. We don't sell product here at Ironhawk Financial. We use strategies, right? And then the second thing you need is you need a fixed index annuity. And why do I need that? Well, number one, you can't lose. Number two, they're both averaging double-digit returns. Number three, the IUL is tax-free. Number four, it's free of any creditor because of HIPAA laws within the IUL. Number five, it works as a trust. It's legally avoids probate. It's incontestable in court. If you choose a beneficiary, you don't have to worry about your cousin or your aunt or your nephew coming out of the woodwork and said, "Oh, Joe said that account I have access to, even though I'm not, I'm the beneficiary." Well, then you got to go to probate. Then you got to fight. Then every month you're in probate 1% and stolen from you by the probate court and fees. Then you have to pay an attorney. And by the time you get the assets 6 months later, your family fought with one another. You all hate each other. The court made 6, 7% on even $500,000. It's 30, 40 G's of your hard-earned money, person who died. And now you have a hurt relationship. You paid an attorney 100 grand. The court took 40 grand, and then what's left? It's a nightmare. So I mean, these are the things that you have to do. It's insanely selfish to not plan for your death. It's insanely selfish to not have a legacy plan and say, I'll let them figure it out. Because I've been in those rooms where the three brothers and two sisters are fighting at each other's neck. Dad said this. Dad said that. No, I spent more time with dad. No, dad said that I get this. And if you don't have a plan in place and you leave it for your family to fight and fend for, it's going to hurt and destroy what you, as a protector and a provider, again, speaking to men here, as a protector and a provider, have built to make sure that your resources, everything you've had, goes to the people you love the easiest way and eliminates the government from stealing it.
Pretty amazing stuff. I hear you. It doesn't make sense not to do this, but the people just don't know. We're kept in the dark on things like this. And and you mentioned the banks, worst place to keep the money. I totally agree with that. But other places I wouldn't go either. The stock market. Now, sometimes your work does your benefits, and some of it is stock related. You don't have a choice. But the people have a choice. Five families make most of the money in the stock market. Not all of it, but most of it. And people realize that it's a rigged game to benefit the few people. And I'm not saying they're doing anything illegal. It's the way the mechanism is set up. And the average John Doe is generally not going to get rich in the stock market. And I don't know, we don't teach this in school. It's interesting. Here's the criticism. In education, set up by the Rockefellers and the Carnegies, okay, they didn't teach people how money works. And I don't think that's an accident. Do you?
Nope. I would, if I'm rigging a game to enslave everybody, I'm not going to tell the slaves the rules. I mean, if I have a cornfield like, 100 years ago, and these guys are stronger than me because they're out working 20 hours a day. I'm not. I'm sitting on the bench, or the seat outside my porch. I'm not gonna let them know that, hey, if you guys band together, you guys can kill me and take this farm. Like, I wouldn't tell people what they needed to do if I was an evil sociopath person, a demonic. And that's, unfortunately, you can't have good without bad. You can't have the heaven without hell. You can't, it's yin and yang. So if you're a good person, unfortunately, there's someone on this planet that is the complete opposite of you, meaning they're not good. And as good as you are, there's somebody as bad as you're good. So we have to wake up people and understand this is a spiritual war that we have to win together.
I know some people in Congress. I know people in local politics who are really reasonably good people. But you have to look at what the Bible says. The root of all evil is the love of money. And if you look at Nancy Pelosi, right? She does insider trading that would send you and me to jail. And then you've
Yep.
got Elizabeth Warren on a $200,000 salary. She made $12 million last year. See, this is who gets attracted to this game overwhelmingly. And often they're not nice people. Money is their God.
Right? You can't you as Jesus said is you can't worship two gods.
That's right.
And I lived my life with my three children, my non-working spouse for 12 years, where I was chasing the dollar. I was worshiping the dollar. I need to feed my kids. I live in a very wealthy town in Connecticut. Everything is very, very expensive. My property taxes are 1,000 a month, more than that now. So like it's very, very expensive where I live. So I thought I needed, hey, I have to worship this dollar. What unlucky, but lucky for me is I came into really hard times, March of 24, with personal things. And I got on my knees and I prayed to God, hey, I'm with you. I'll give up everything that I'm doing. This was when I was gambling big, when I was on the DraftKings commercials. And I got on my knees and I prayed to God. I said, hey, please help me. So I banned myself. I stopped worshiping the dollar because I made millions of dollars, but I was living paycheck to paycheck. And it's because God, the devil will give you the dollars, but he won't allow you to save them or do anything productive with them. So once I put Jesus, Yahweh above, you know, my king and my God, I started making 10 times more money. My business grew. I stopped worshiping the dollar and I started worshiping people and I started investing in people. I started worshiping the gifts God gave me to try and help people. And that shifted my whole life from a standpoint of, oh, there's a guy with a million, I can make XYZ, yay, to, oh, there's a guy with a million, I want to save the government from stealing 400,000 of that.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that paradigm shift was crucial to my success of growing this business nationwide. And people think money has to do with numbers. Oh, if I just made more, Joe. It has everything to do with if you love yourself. It has everything to do with are you filling a hole in your heart. It has everything to do with are you willing to save because you love your present self, so you want to reward and enrich your future self. And most Americans, they don't love their present self,
Yeah.
so why would they enrich their future self?
I know, and a lot of people have grown up with the idea that this is all you'll ever be. You're discouraged from being the most you can be, and there's a pervasive doubt placed in humanity by mainstream media. And it's not a conspiracy; it's just the direction they go. If you look at the sitcoms, people are always on the edge of success, and something sets them back. And it's that way over and over and over. And our media does not promote self-empowerment and resilience. And actually, my dissertation was on resilience, and I had a little section in there about contributors to lack of resilience. Social media and television were at the top.
Well, it's
Even
it's all
even
about
even the correlations were higher than even for bad parenting.
it's about horde mentality. It's easier to control 1,000 sheep that are all like-minded. It's harder to control 1,000 independent sheep that have their own points of
Yeah.
views. So I
Uh,
mean, look at, I don't want to get too political, but look at the Democratic Party. I mean, the last 12 years, it was an echo chamber. If you didn't fit their narrative of purple hair, liberal, we can murder babies, we can do whatever we want, we can chase ICE around and
yeah, I
and
know.
die, but they all thought the same. And if you were to think differently, they outed you. And so that is what the media, the culture is trying to do is to put you into two categories. You're either Democrat or Republican. You're either white or black. You're either rich or poor. You're either fat or skinny. You're either, brown hair, blonde hair. You're either green eyes, blue eyes. Like they want to separate. You're the Yankees or you're Red Sox.
That's right.
Like
You're exactly. Listen to this case that's in Arizona right now. There's a professor named Owen Anderson, and he's a professor at Arizona State University of philosophy and religion. And he got forced to take a class on DEI. And in the course, if you're white, you're the oppressor. Oh, whoa, whoa, hold, back up. And he's suing now, and a nonprofit who represented us in our property rights deal, the Goldwater Institute's taking his case. They're going to the state Supreme Court with it. Um, so you've got students at ASU and professors, if they're white, they're viewed as the oppressors, as if they're against everybody else. and they're just generalizing across all white people. And I'm not joking when I say this, because this is now part of a lawsuit. In fact, I saw the man interviewed on a local TV station here, and he was just very matter of fact. He goes, I'm not an oppressor, and I'm not going to wear that label. And then the interviewer asked him, he said, do students feel this pressure? He goes, yes, I have many of my own students that say if they don't toe that liberal line, that their grades suffer. This is how bad it's become. And then the Democratic Party, they took God out of the party years ago, and that's why I can't support them. I mean, right there, they're saying we're godless.
It's it. I have a 16, about to be 17-year-old going to senior year of high school. I have a freshman boy going to be, going into high school. It's scary. My oldest, I said, hey, if you want to go to college, you're welcome. He goes, Dad, I'm not going to college. He's like, I'm working with you. He said, I'm not gonna be brainwashed, thinking that I'm bad because of something I didn't choose. We didn't, that we know of, we didn't, go to God, say, oh, I want to be white. I want to be Italian. I want to be about 6 foot tall. I want to be born to Nancy, who my mom was a freaking crackhead. And I want to be born to Joe,
I
Vincent.
know.
That's my dad. And he was an alcoholic. And, that's what I want to do. I want to be living in an attic with no running water, living in the ghetto and pooping and peeing in a bucket when I'm 3 years old. Okay, that's good, right? Yeah. So it's like we didn't ask for this, right? So how do you punish somebody who didn't ask for this, for a crime they didn't commit, to a person who's claiming victimhood that they'd never even met? It's disgusting. It's like,
Well, you're right. And the moral character of this nation with the leadership is changing. I'll give you one example. Utah, it's now, and it's not just Utah, but they're the ones who've acted on it first. It's illegal to be homeless. So the first time you're fined $500. Well, if I had $500, I wouldn't be homeless. So what they do then, okay, well, then you have to go to jail. And while you're in jail, you're now an indentured slave. You have to perform labor for the benefit of Fortune 500 corporations. And I'm not kidding. You have to do this as a condition of getting released. Isn't that amazing? And yet they do nothing for you to prepare you to do something to get out. You can't, you get paid like 12 cents an hour to do this. So you can't pile up any money to support yourself. So you're back out on the street again, homeless, hoping you don't get arrested. I mean, this is crazy, but this is leadership mentality. They're even exploiting the poor. This is unacceptable. If you look at what the Bible says, all right, the Bible talks about how we should be giving to the poor. And instead, we're punishing them for being poor.
yeah, it gets to a point where the ego of this culture, is the destruction of this culture. God didn't have an ego. Yahweh didn't have an ego. He had empathy. And me finding empathy within my life really changed my life. From going from being selfish to only caring about what people can do for me. If you can't help me, then, F off. That mentality is disgusting. And now I try and help people, and what I found by doing that is God will reward, and as long as you don't do it for that purpose, we live in a karmatic world of frequency, energy, vibration. You can say you're hanging with your friends, oh, this is some good vibes. This is amazing. Like you could be sitting on a chair on the beach talking about nonsense and you feel like you're in heaven. And that level of frequency, vibration, that is something that, God put us together. Like I believe me and you, Dave, are in a very same wavelength of vibration, energy, and frequency. We want to help people. We want to do the right thing. We want to have God's favor, not because of our selfishness, but because we want to earn God's love. And we want to do that by putting ourselves at risk. Not a lot of people don't want to be hated. Well, there's people out there that hate you, and there's people that hate me because we speak the truth.
I know.
And people don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to think I'm going to die. They don't want to think the government's not their friend. They don't want to think that they're a slave. They don't want to think that, that paying property tax on a house you already paid for is literally the definition of slavery. I
Right.
own this and you're still going to charge me to own it. I don't know what else I could say.
No,
That's
I hear you. Yeah, it just and the whole thing permeates. I mean, just one other small example, real small. Auto mechanics are leaving the profession in droves because the new models that are coming out, you have to actually go to a dealership to be able to unlock all the coverings to do the work. And so garages are getting left out, and people are being charged 3 times more than they'd pay at a garage to service their new vehicles. And it's just, again, more exploitation of regular people. And it's just, and the flock cameras, catching people
Oh
speeding,
my God.
get the automatic ticket. It's just everything is about separating people from their money. And see, this is what separates you from a lot of people out there, is because you're about helping people not only protect what they have, but how to enhance and grow what they have. And you've associated it with companies that are sacred cows that'll never go under.
Yeah, and it's only using A-rated companies, 100 plus years, survived the Civil War, World War One, the Great Depression, World War Two. You don't have to be a genius in finances. The smartest thing to do is just copy what the ultra elite do, right? People were doing that with Pelosi. They were following her stock tips because she would have to file her quarterlies as a public servant, and on there would have the list of all the stocks. So this was about 5, 7 years ago. Well, people got rich off that, and then they said, "Well, we're not going to do this anymore," because they were, helping people make money. You can't have that. They need it all.
Oh,
So when you look at it, if you're not doing anything to fight against this, if you want to, keep your head in the sand like an ostrich, have at it, and just know you're going to wake up one day, you're going to be old, you're going to be broke, and you're going to be thrown in a 10 by 10 nursing home jail cell with a stranger taking care of you, and a stranger feeding you, and you have no say over what you eat, you have no say over the care. You can't hire or fire them, and no one's going to really want to see you because it's not a great place to bring grandchildren to. I had 3 of them. I brought them to see my dad who had Parkinson's, and it wasn't fun. So these are the things that, if you fail to plan, your plans to fail. I'm not selling socks. I'm doing extensive financial planning. I'm making sure you're safe, you're diversifying your taxes, diversifying your market exposure, using the codes the millionaires and billionaires do, building a bank, which is one of the 3 5-star rated books I have on Amazon. And that's what I do for my clients. And at the end of the day, 24 years, zero complaints, A plus rated on the Better Business Bureau. Like, I don't know what else I can do. It's all there. You don't have to take my word for it. Like, just research
no,
Ironhawk
I agree.
Financial.
I
And
agree. When
and
I've run ads for Ironhawk Financial, I've said that too, no complaints, and you don't lose money, you make money. Hey, I wanted to shift gears just for a second because I need an expert's opinion.
shoot.
I'm concerned about digital currency.
Mm,
Um, and I know there's a prohibition against CBDC until 2030 from Congress. And then Trump has gone to stablecoin, which I think is still digital currency. I mean, that's
it
how I
is.
look at it.
Hmm.
Um, there's people out there now. This is going to sound ridiculous. I believe President Trump wants to win the war. I think the war is ill-advised, but he wants to win. There's no question. You can see the frustration. But I think there's a group in this country that would like us to lose the war
Lose.
to
Hmm.
disrupt the economy. The
Correct.
dollar falters. In
Correct.
comes the tech bros, the digital
Yep.
crowd, and now they get to introduce digital currency they control. Now,
Correct.
how crazy is that hypothesis? And I want to stress it's just a hypothesis.
Yeah, it's not crazy at all. The powers that be look at America as the last standing free country, laughing at free. We have 10% freedom, and other countries have 3% freedom. So I guess we're more free, but we're not free, but we're more free, right? You don't pay the IRS, they throw you in jail. That's not freedom. So when you look at it, what they ideally, what in my opinion, going down rabbit holes, doing researches, listening to awesome podcasts like this one, I've learned is that the ultra wealthy don't want competition. They don't want you on their private islands, whether there's little kids there to do horrible things to, or if it's a golf course, or if it's a boating thing. They don't want us there. They want a small group of them, and the more successful us get, meaning us peasants, right? Unless you have, I believe the number is $30 million, you're broke in the sense of, if you're ultra rich or not. 30, I believe it's 30 million. It might be 60. I just asked ChatGPT this yesterday. I think it's
I got
30.
to ask you a question on that point. Okay. And I can't tell you how I know because I signed an NDA.
Gotcha.
I could tell you privately, but I couldn't tell
Gotcha.
you here. But this goes back to the 90s. And there was a deal, they had a certain kind of arbitrage that it cost 65 million to get in. Okay. And what they did is they would not know what the futures markets in each one of the markets around the globe would open up. So they would basically do what's called, for my language, place their bet.
Mhm.
So their 65 million would just multiply exponentially as they would work their way around the world as the markets opened. Okay. And listen, I know this happened. Okay. And like I said, I'm on an NDA. I can't talk about it. And obviously I wasn't a beneficiary, people, or you'd see a lot fancier studio than I have. Um, but
Golden
but
cactus.
but do you know about this? Is it still going on today?
It happens in crypto every single day, like every hour. I mean, I don't know if you remember this, but just look at crypto in the last 12 months. We've seen one day go down 26% and the next day go up 26%.
Yeah.
They move these markets to hit people out of their stop losses, and then it goes down and down and down and down until they say now it's time to buy, and they just make a quick 20-30% in about 4 minutes
Okay.
on, let's say, $100 million. So they just extracted $20 million of the investors' dollars because people are scared and they're selling when it's down 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%. Oh no, I'm going to lose it all. And then as soon as they get enough money, they buy at that low because it's all about buy low, sell high. So is there manipulation in the stock market? Absolutely. Is it illegal? Absolutely. Is anyone going to do anything about it? Absolutely not. White collar crime is not the same as poor people crime. Rich people crime is not the same as poor people crime. A rich person can steal $12 million from a family and they get a slap on the wrist. They go to a country club. Look at what happened to Bernie Madoff with all your money. He was in a country club. He was chilling, playing racquetball, eating steak, playing golf. But I get caught selling a couple 20 bags of well, not marijuana anymore, but let's just say, another substance. I'm going to jail. What? For $40 and he's not for 14 million?
Well,
So,
I got a good story for you there. Sam Bankman-Fried. I just found
yes.
this out. I was investigating world financial
Ninja.
liberty, okay?
Yep.
And it's Trump, his sons, and a lot of what we call the Zionist donors, Americans that really represent Israel first. And they influenced people like TPUSA and so forth. But anyway, they're all involved in this. And 30 heads of state are also involved. And they're involved in turning Gaza, they're going to turn it into a high-tech community. Uh, but it gets worse than that. It gets a lot worse than that. What I found there was one of the subcontractors or subsidiaries, I should say, and who's funding the subsidiary to World Financial Liberty is a gentleman named Sam Bankman-Fried,
Oh,
who's
where,
under
where did I
house
hear that
arrest now.
before?
He's not in prison. He's under house arrest, and
Hmm.
he's conducting this business with the elite of the world from his home.
It's rules for the rules for the not for me. The who has the gold has the golden rules.
Yeah, yeah.
It's we're peasants unless you want to hit that 30 to 60 million mark. If you're not there, you're a peasant, believe it or not. So when you look at it, what can we do? Right? I think
Yeah,
many of your listeners are awake.
they
If
are.
you, in order to follow Dave, you have to actually have common sense because if not, he would offend you. That like, hey, we're all equal. Hey, you should have empathy and care about other people. Hey, there's forces involved here that aren't good that are hurting you and you can't see them. Like it's most people don't they live in their little bubble, right? And they don't want to believe there's any evil, right? It's
I
like
know.
it's the mom, that gets a new boyfriend. The boyfriend's beating the crap out of the kid. The kid's coming to the mom with black eyes, and he hit me, and he's like, no, he just tripped. It's just people they just don't want to look at the truth, and that's unfortunately a lot of Americans because they feel like they're powerless when they're not, and we're all God's children. And once you unleash the fact that you're God's child and you have in order to be a child of God, you have to have some DNA from that God, or you wouldn't be a child, right? Like a horse baby has some DNA of its horse mom, right? So when we look at it, we have so much power that we don't utilize. And everything gets separated. And it's so vitally important coming together and learning and doing the right thing, right? You have five selves: spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially.
Hmm.
Again, this is not taught in school. Why? I couldn't tell you. It's the most easiest lesson to understand that when you hit adulthood, if you aren't growing spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, or financially, it's going to lead to serious problems for you down the road. Serious. But
I
they don't talk
agree.
about it,
I agree
you know?
totally. Do you know that I found this out a long time ago, but I've brushed up on it recently. It's all about hiding knowledge from the people that could improve their lives. They want the rich and elite want our lives to be less quality than their life, and they want all the power over us. And that's become very clear. And I'll give you an example from history. Everyone knows about Carnegie taking his money and putting it into the libraries and so forth. But what they're not told, but there's written records of this. In fact, newspapers reported on this at the time. They took books they didn't want people to read and destroyed them. And I'm not making this up. This is really true. And they did it through the Dewey Decimal System. He partnered with Dewey, and Dewey categorized by numbers all the categories of books. And they would categorize certain books as undesirables, and they would get rid of them. And a lot of it was about self-empowerment, about real history. And it just, to me, you guys are doing the antithesis of what people like Carnegie did to society in terms of you're trying to enlighten people. And this is how you get on the same level using the same legal strategies as the elite.
Yeah, it's again, I was just talking to my son about the King James, what a horrible, horrible king he was, in my opinion, based on the evidence of changing it from 13 months to 12 months, changing, adding, getting rid of the Book of Enoch in the Bible, which has very good evidence of what our origins are. Giants and angels, they splice DNA. They don't want us to know that kind of stuff. They want us to believe in angels and a globe earth I mean aliens, excuse me, and a globe Earth, and we're infinite. We're going 60, 600, 6,000 miles of forever and revolving tilted at 666,666, all demonic crap. So when you really understand knowledge is power, like knowledge is power, and it's so powerful. If you knew what the ultra rich are doing, if you knew what the ultra healthy are doing, if you knew what the ultra communicators are doing, if you knew what the best way to have your perfect week, if you knew the best habits to have a successful and happy and peaceful life, these are the things that we don't, as a culture, we don't spend time looking for. We really don't. We make excuses for why we are where we are. We don't want to change. And again, that has a lot to do with our nervous system, how we were built. Our bodies and our minds do not like change. I think we can only change like, 2% a day out of your habits, which is hard to do. That's why they say it's hard to quit smoking. It's hard to quit drinking. It's hard to quit gambling. It's hard to do anything that you enjoy doing and quit because your mind's going to say, no, wait, that's what we did for the last 1,704 days. We're going to do it today because it makes us happy. And you have to tell it, no, it's not anymore because short-term gain is usually long-term pain.
Yeah.
And short-term pain is long-term gain. And people don't want to go through the motions of going to the gym. Like I went for a walk today. It's like 100 degrees outside. But I was like, you know what? I had a reschedule, right at between noon, I had an appointment, didn't come. So I walked for 30 minutes in like 100-degree weather because I know that I didn't have a chance to get to the gym today because I'm backed up with a bunch of Dave Hodges leads and opportunities because they're coming in like two, three, four a day. So, but yeah, it's one of those things where you have to make sure that you give love to yourself because if you're not going to love you and you're not going to plan for you, who's going to love you and who's going to plan for you?
Yeah, I know. Well, some of the people we're talking about love themselves, but to the
Not that
exclusion
way.
of abusing other people, and
Yeah, not that way. Not being a
that's a different kind
sociopath.
of love. Yeah,
Yes.
root of all evil is the love of money. But there's nothing wrong with having money. But I will say this too, if we go biblical for a second, I'm reminded of Jesus walking through the temple and then taking on the money changers and overturning the tables. He would need to act really quickly to turn over all the tables that need to be turned over in this country right now because we're on bad financial footing. I mean, you just look at Congress, right? You're $40 trillion in debt. And tell me if you agree with this, because you're better financially than I am by far. But I've heard Besant hint at this 14 months ago. His predecessor in Treasury said the same thing. And our current Fed chair said this before he was sworn in that inflation, well, it's okay. It's going to be up there. People's incomes are going to be down here, and we're going to bring down the real value of the debt through inflation. I know what I'm telling you is correct. Are they acting on it? What do you think?
Um, if you mean by them devaluing the dollar to the point where we're Venezuela and it takes, $8,000 to buy a hamburger, um, do they want to do that? I mean, I'm sure that's probably the only thing they can do.
Hmm.
What else can they do? I mean, if I owe you $1 million and I have $500, the best thing I can do is devalue my $500 to a dollar and then devalue your $1 million down to two thousand bucks.
Yeah,
Be,
exactly.
you know, and they know that the population doesn't have $40 trillion. We don't even have the money to pay it back. Every working American owes $300,000 in cash this moment to pay it back, which we don't have. So when you look at it, that's sort of what else can they say that's logical, right? That's all they can say that's logical is, well, we built up, at least when we borrowed the money in the 90s, $100 was worth $100. Now, 1990 to compare now, $100 is worth like, 28 bucks. So when you look at it, they're trying to say they're doing something good when something evil happens. That's what they do in bills, right? When the government passes a bill that says like Save the Children Act, it's like literally murders kids. If they pass a bill that's like, the birds are the best, and it's literally like, in fine print, we're gonna hunt all the birds and extinct them. Like anything that
I
they
hear you.
put, the Patriot Act, most unpatriotic thing they could have possibly ever done, and then have the gall
Oh
to
yeah,
call it Patriot Act.
yeah. The act that did away with the Fourth and Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no due process here. I totally agree with you. A lot of the legislation is deceptive. The Genius Act, okay? You'd have to be mentally challenged to believe in this crap. It's nonsense.
Uh-huh.
It's total nonsense. But my fear is digital, and I'll tell you why. And I think this comes back to what you do. The digital part, if the wrong people control it,
Oh,
okay? Then they can determine, like China does, social credit, and they
yep,
can determine how you spend it, where you spend it, how much of your money you can keep. They
correct.
can even do mandatory investment orders on your money, and
Yep.
there's nothing you can do. And they can limit what you buy. Like, oh, you had too much steak last month. We're not going to let you buy any this month. And don't laugh, people. This is a lot of what is talked about now. And this is why I like what you're doing because you're going to put people, you may not make them as rich as the Rockefellers are, but you're putting them on a level which is much higher than where they've been, and they're able to weather the storm a lot better than where they are in their present situation.
Yeah, it boils down to we have like peasants, squires, and kings, right? Are any of the peasants even or the squires able to do what kings do? No. We can't legally break the law. Bill Gates calls, another CEO and is like, "Hey, I'm going to tank this stock or let's go buy this crypto coin and let's tank that crypto coin. What do you got? 300 million to put on it? I got 400 million. All right, the whole market cap's only 500 million. So
Oh
we're going
yeah.
to move 80% of the entire every dollar that's in that stock, we're gonna play with 80% of it. All right, you move 300, I'll move 300. You move it at 902, I'll move it at 906. And then all of a sudden, what we're gonna do is we're gonna buy back from 910 at 10% increments, and then we're gonna crash it. And everyone's gonna buy in thinking it's coming back up, and then we're gonna just steal money. That's what kings do, right? We can't do that. I mean, we don't have 300 million to move a market, right? So then you take a look at what do the squires do? Right. Well, the squires, they use the best IRS codes they can. They have estate planning attorneys. They have CPAs. They have investment advisors. They have insurance agents. They have financial planners. They have other, they have trust. They have S corps. They have C corps. They have bookkeeper. Right. And then you look what the peasant does. The peasant's like, I'll buy XRP. I'll buy gold and silver. I'll buy real estate. That's not a strategy. It's not a strategy at all. So when you look at it, you have to understand that do I own real estate and XRP? Yes, I do. But it's part of like my bigger strategy, right? If you don't have a plan and you're just blindly buying assets, well, I heard to buy gold and silver, so I'll buy that. And which, again, I own gold and silver, okay? I heard to buy crypto, I have that. So do I, right? But when you look at it, you need a foundation. You need to have a plan. You need to open your financial eyes and say, where is the target? What is the target? How am I going to protect myself from the government? How am I going to protect myself when taxes go up? How am I going to protect myself when the market goes down? How am I going to protect myself when I can't wipe my own butt? And how can I protect myself when I die and I make sure the state and federal government doesn't come in and steal all my money away from my bloodline, my grandchildren, my children, my nieces, my nephews? If you're not willing to do that planning, who is?
I know,
Who
I hear you.
is?
But they're not taught this is what they got to do.
Correct.
You know,
Correct. On
people drift
purpose.
through life thinking, well, I'm paying into Social Security, I'll be okay. And that's what a 30-year-old thinks.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then they get to be 60 and they go, well, even if it's still here, because it's set to go broke in 2032, but
Correct.
even if it's still here, I can't live on this crap. It's not indexed for inflation. There's no COLA.
$480 a week.
Yeah, I
How are you going
know.
to live on that?
You can't. You can't.
You
And
can
then
eat
you're in
at
an
McDonald's three
inflationary.
times a week. You don't even have 480.
I know. I listen, I see it all the time from people in my audience. I hear about it constantly. And they're right. And there's nothing I can say to help them because the system's not set up for them. The system is a top-down system, and you're trying to teach people how to reverse that to their benefit. I wanted to ask you before we have to close on annuities
Yeah.
because the markets are on edge, tariffs are
Mm-hmm.
there, we got the war and the Strait of Hormuz and all that stuff, and now we
Tariffs.
got threatened Iranian contamination of our water supplies
Oh,
that
that was
the
amazing.
DOJ
Yep.
is looking at. I mean, the FBI is looking at. So we look at all that stuff, okay? Why is annuities a good thing to do today?
Yeah, it comes down to taking a look at what our culture's doing, which finally we're doing something right. $500 billion in the last 12 months has gone into annuities. It's half a trillion, right? So why? Right? So the annuities right now are not your mom or dad's or grandparents' annuities, right? They can't lose. Those could. They're not high fee. They're actually cheaper than paying your Wells Fargo, Fidelity, your 401k, your IRA fee to your investment advisor. It's cheaper. Okay. You get a bonus, right? Assuming you go the growth pattern, So, and you're historically you're in higher rates of return, meaning you have more than a 1-to-1 ratio in the stock market, right? So is the stock market great? Well, when it's going up, it's great. Is the casino great? It's great when you're hitting jackpots. Is the stock market good? Not when it's going down, not when it's going down. Is the casino good? No, not when I walk out with no money in my pocket, right? So what the annuities allow clients to do, if it's built right, right carrier, right structure, right option contracts, if it's built right, you can't lose. You earn more than you earn if you own the actual risk. The fees are cheaper and they'll pay you a bonus. In this example, of 15% guaranteed on your money. Day one. You put in 1 million, that's 150 grand cash in your account. What are the fees? 0 to 95 basis points. Your choice. Well, what are the averages? 14.71%. Wait, every year? Yeah. Your money doubles every 5 years. Your money quadruples every 10 years as the lowest historical return on record for this strategy. What am I quoting? Allianz Annuity invests in Morgan Stanley option contract, which is like the NASDAQ. So you basically get like 1.8. That means for every dollar you have in the NASDAQ, they give you 108, they give you $1.80 invested in the NASDAQ. And if you lose everything, they guarantee you not to lose. It's like going to the casino. I lose all my money. They say, "Here, Dave, here's all your money back this year." Wait, what? Or even better, I hit a jackpot of, let's say, $10,000. They go, "Oh, no, no, you're not getting 10. Here's $18,000 for your $10,000 jackpot." Wait, what? So this is what the ultra wealthy do. They buy blocks of billions of dollars. So you're invested with 10,000 other investors. in what's called a call option on a low volatility risk like an S&P 500 or NASDAQ fund. Now, most of these annuities have caps. You can only earn so much, meaning if the fund gets 30, and it's capped at 10, you can only get 10. Well, the funds I'm quoting have no caps. So if the market gets 30, you get 30. I have clients this year that are up with the bonus, the rate of return, and the participation bonus. They're up close to 50% in 1 year. And when you look at it, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie.
Yeah,
I
that's
could
true.
show you the numbers.
Yeah.
And so this is what the ultra wealthy are doing in regards to the people worth 30 million or less. That's ultra wealthy. You're 10, 20 million. I look at that as ultra wealthy. I can go anywhere I want. I don't have to work. I can buy a boat. I can buy whatever car I want. I can go on any vacation I want. Yes, can I buy an island? No. Can I influence a war in another country? No. But I can pretty much live my life the way I want to, and that's how I classify ultra wealthy.
Until your kids get drafted. That's another story for another time. That's
Well, that's why
coming,
I'm
my
saving up
friend.
money.
That's coming. I know. I hear
I'll
you.
buy
But
their I'll buy their freedom, or I'll
you
shoot
know
them in their
you know
foot.
who's not getting drafted? The people we're
Who?
talking about.
Oh yeah, they're not getting
Their
drafted.
kids aren't getting drafted. Okay. It's just like George W. Bush. What did he do in the Vietnam War? Stationed domestically, had easy duties. That's just how it is. He wasn't in the jungles.
You want to make a lot of money, become a drafter and just have your hand out. You don't want your son to go in, give me 50 grand. There'll be a lot of people giving you 50 grand.
You know, one of the things that you guys are working on doing that I really support is not everyone that comes to you. First of all, this is proof that they don't hard sell. When you get a hold of Ironhawk, they don't play games. They tell you pretty quickly whether or not this is for you or maybe they can't help you. But you guys are actually working in alternative strategies to uh, to help people that you're not able to help directly.
Yeah, we have debt companies we have agreements with. We have Cash Map, Debt Shredder. If there's anything we could do, if people just need a term policy for like 30 bucks a month because they only have 800 bucks in their bank account and they make 40,000 a year. To be honest, the company doesn't make anything, but we just try and help people because at the end of the day, God has blessed me. I make a lot of money. I'm very, very blessed. Did I put a quarter century of my life into it? Did I work in Wall Street? Did I write books? Did I do all the right things for 25 years? Yes, but that still doesn't negate the fact that God is blessing me. So who am I to not take what I've learned, my blessing, and try and bless other people?
Yeah.
And it always comes back to you. I mean, I coach basketball for my boys. I sponsor teams. I just bought a huge banner on my son's high school in Cheshire, Connecticut, high school for $12,000 because they needed helmets. I was like, all right, buy the helmets. How much, to keep these kids safe while they're, running at each other. I have two boys playing tackle, football. I want to make sure their heads are safe.
I
So I
love it.
was like, I'll buy the damn helmets,
I love it.
so it was a silent auction for this huge thing. I was, whatever the cost of helmets are, I'll pay for it. And
I
nobody
love
else
it.
wanted
Iron
to.
Hawk Financial, preventing concussions in football.
Hey, my last name's Lombardi, forget about it. My great grandfather's brother was Super Bowl champion, Vince Lombardi. So when you look at it, football's in my blood. I coached them
You're
when they were four
related to
years old.
Vince Lombardi?
Yes,
Now,
yes,
come on.
yep.
I did not know that.
Really?
Oh, he is, well, Belichick and Lombardi, the
Yeah,
two
that's it.
greatest football coaches in
Of all
American
time.
history. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's incredible. What's his relation to you?
grandfather's brother.
Oh my
So great
gosh.
uncle.
Well, I'll give you a little tidbit from my family, but it's nothing to be proud of. My mom's side of the family goes back to 1745, and they're part of the Ford clan, and they were cousins to Henry Ford. But he knew the Depression was coming. They didn't. They lost everything, and he didn't care. So he wasn't a popular person in my mom's family line, but he was related to us and not a very nice guy. Hey, we're out of time, my friend, but I wanted to tell people how they can get a hold of you. And it's just, I'm telling you, dealing with people that have your best interest at heart. They can't help you. They'll tell you, they'll try to put you somewhere else that you can get help if you need it. But if you can get into this, people, I'm telling you, you're going to be very, very happy, very profitable. Go to dhhawk.com. That's dhhawk.com. And they'll know by going there that I sent you. And I really wish you Happy travels. This Joe. Thanks so much for coming on. It was interesting sharing these ideas with you, but we gotta go before they turn the lights out on me. So take care of my friend. I'll be in touch.
Sounds good. Thank you, buddy.